All right, UFC Houston, full card predictions, full betting breakdown. Chris, I'm definitely excited for this one because there's honestly a bunch of legit matchups on here, and we're going fight by fight, top to bottom. Like always, welcome inside the War Room alongside Chris Shore. I'm Shrikar Rajendran. So real quick, before we get into the video, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, share the video. Just show us some love. Chris, thoughts on the card as a whole before we get into it?
I think it's pretty good. I really don't have any complaints. I mean, for a place like Houston, which, sometimes they have good cards, sometimes it's a little bit lackluster.
When's the last time they went there? It was like...
well, they were just in Texas for Noche, but that wasn't Houston. The last time they were there, let's see, UFC Houston cards.
Was it Whitaker and Izzy too?
No, I don't think so. I feel like that's a long time ago. We're doing some on-the-fly research right off bat.
Yeah, so wait, what was the last Houston card? UFC Houston
cards in Houston. Last UFC card in Houston. This is some great content for you guys to watch me struggle.
Dude, I genuinely think it's Whitaker and Izzy.
It might have been. I don't know. I can't really find anything right.
Hey, you know what? Comments, do your thing. Let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know when is the last time they've been to Houston. Because I don't remember them ever going back for a fight night.
A little bit later in the video, so we can get this thing rolling, I'll just randomly drop what card it was because I'll do a little research while Shrikar's talking. But yeah, I like the card. I'm really not opposed to any of these fights. I think there's some pretty good bangers on this card, if I'm being completely honest. And we have a, I would say, highly anticipated debut of John Paul Lebosnoyani, who had a great knockout on Contender Series in 2025, taking on a pretty grizzled vet in Phil Rowe. And honestly, just some straight up slugfests. I mean, I think that Leal versus Njokuani is going to bring fireworks. Some people might have their opinions about how the main event is going to go. Strickland versus Hernandez. Hernandez loves to push the pace. Strickland likes to fight at his own pace and kind of control the tempo. So it'll kind of be a battle of who can inflict their will the most. So I'm not opposed, Ricard. I mean, I think that the co-main could have been a little bit better. It's Jeff Neal versus Uros Medic. But even that, you have two great strikers who are just willing to stand in the middle and give it their all. But what do you think? How do you think this is going to go?
I think it's a good card. I wouldn't say it's anything insane. Like, I think it'll be a good card. Everyone will kind of enjoy it. There'll be fights that are not good. It'll be pretty much a standard UFC card, in my opinion. A standard UFC fight night. Definitely a good main event. Definitely excited for Strickland Fluffy, but let's get into it. We're going top to bottom, so we're going to start with the first fight of the night. Carli Judice versus Juliana Miller. To me, this one's pretty clear. I think Carli Judice is going to show out. She is a high-level striker, good cardio, good volume. She's clean down the middle with straight shots. And defensively, she's not a total liability in the grappling either. Honestly, definitely reminds me a bit of like Holly Holm. If there was like a new gen Holly Holm, I think it's Carli Judice at 125. Juliana Miller's got decent jiu-jitsu. She can get you down and hunt the back, but I think the striking gap here is just so far off the charts. Judice actually has real stand-up, and she has that finishing gear that's rare to find in women's MMA nowadays. So I think Judice is going to hurt her to the body. Really solid body work, big kicks. And Miller just won't be able to keep up, in my opinion. I think the speed difference is massive. I think the difference in technique is definitely massive. So I'll say Judice by knockout, and I'll say she gets it done probably inside the first 2 rounds. So I'll take a look at the odds for you guys while Chris makes his pick. But yeah, give me Judice by KO.
So before I make my pick, I just want to point out Shrikar's immense ball knowledge that the last Houston card was Adesanya versus Whitaker too. And Tai Tuivasa knocked out Derek Lewis in the co-main. I knew Derek Lewis was on the card, but yeah, that's great ball knowledge. That was off the top too. I had to look it up. Yeah, so it's been quite a minute. That when was that? That was in 2022. So 4 years, almost 4 years exactly. It was February 12th, 2022. So 4 years and some change removed from the UFC being in Houston. But yeah, my first pick, I'm going Carli Judice as well. I think that the odds are perfect in this fight. She is a massive favorite. It says -400 on Tapology.
She's -800 on DraftKings.
Yeah, if you look on any other sports book, she's close to or is an 8-1 favorite. And I don't see it any other way. Juliana Miller, she does have, the accomplishment of winning the Ultimate Fighter, which if you've watched her past fights since that win, you would kind of think, how did she win the Ultimate Fighter? She's a good grappler. She has a killer mentality. You can see it in her nickname, Juliana Killer Miller. She has the heart and determination to work and really make a fight gritty, but it just doesn't seem like she has the skills to back up the determination and the heart that she brings. She's really hasn't improved at all since then. She did have a win over, I think it was Ivana Petrovic in 2025, which, good. Yeah, Ivana Petrovic in 2025, a good win to get back on your feet after taking 2 losses. She's still super raw. She only has 5 fights from 2021 to 2025. But you look at Judice, she had a great fight against Nicole Cagliari, which I believe was on UFC 318. It was in Louisiana on the Dustin Poirier Max Holloway card. She looked great. She's a very fluid striker. She can kick, she can punch. There might be a little discrepancy in the grappling game. I mean, Miller is definitely better at BJJ than Judice, but her takedown defense is solid. She defended 7 of 9 takedowns in that Cagliari fight. So she's good at staying off her back. And even if she's on her back, she works to get up. I just think that this is going to take place on the feet. And I think Judice is going to have the complete total advantage over Miller, and she's going to make it look easy. I actually like the finish in this as well. I think I would say Judice and under 1.5. I think she picks her apart and gets it done.
Judice is -800. We both would agree with it. The community would agree with it. 94% of Tapology users going.
Wow, wait. Her by knockout is -150. When have you ever seen a women's fight favored to be finished like that?
Yeah, as I said, she has a finishing gear that we don't really see in women's MMA. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I think she'll get it done by KO. Next up, Yadier Del Valle versus Jordan Leavitt. Chris, this is interesting because it's at 145 and Leavitt's been a lightweight. That said, who are you going with?
So if you've been in the MMA news circle over the past couple months, you know that Yadier Del Valle was subject to an alleged fixed fight with Isaac Dolgarian. And I mean, he won. So obviously I there's no blame being passed around here. That is up to the FBI's discretion to investigate, which they have been. So where I'm going with that is you can't really use his last fight to judge him as a fighter. I mean, he looked pretty easy in his last fight, but from what I've seen from him, he's an undefeated prospect, 10-0. Maybe I'll say 9-0 because I don't know if I can count that fight. But this guy's good everywhere. He's great on the ground. He's solid on the feet. He has decent power. I would definitely say that the advantage for him is if it gets to the ground, which is a little bit of a caveat in this fight because you have Jordan Leavitt, who's not good at all on the feet, if we're being completely honest. And he's kind of just a BJJ bot. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. I feel bad because I feel like I always disrespect Paul Craig whenever there's just a BJJ bot, but he's just the lightweight, featherweight Paul Craig. I mean, there's really not much to his game. He's uncomfortable on the feet. He wants to get it down. He had a solid win against Kurt Hollabaugh in 2025, and I think he landed a few takedowns in that first round and got the submission as well. So, good way to bounce back. You see the pattern of win-loss on his Tapology, but I think Del Valle is just going to be better everywhere. I don't see him getting in positions on the ground where Leavitt's going to be able to submit him. I think he's better on the feet. He's faster, stronger, more precise. So I really don't see a way where Del Valle loses this, if I'm being completely honest. I'm going to go Del Valle by finish. I'm not going to say knockout or submission because Leavitt is a good BJJ practitioner, as I said, but I think Del Valle is a very aggressive grappler. So he could get it done any way he wants, but I'm going to go Yadier Del Valle by finish.
Yeah, I'm also going Yadier Del Valle. I think going down in weight is a mistake for Leavitt. He's already kind of a slow twitch guy. not explosive on the feet, not explosive in transitions. He's more of a control grappler than a grappler who's actually going to break you. And dropping to featherweight is not how you fix a speed problem. The guys at 145 are going to be faster. Del Valle is physically imposing, explosive, strong, and he's a bully grappler. He takes you down, puts a beating on you, basically just controls you and ends up subbing you at the end of the day. And honestly, if this turns into striking at any point, I still like Del Valle. He can throw heavy overhands. He can crack, So I think he's going to get on top of Leavitt and eventually find a finish. Back take, probably will get the choke from there. Maybe it's a ground and pound into the neck, something like that. If we look at the odds, Yadier Del Valle is minus 410, Leavitt plus 320. I think that makes sense. I will take Del Valle by submission. I'll predict the exact choke too. RNC. I'll say he gets it done by RNC. But yeah, Del Valle inside the distance is definitely going to be the move. Tapology 91% going Del Valle and most of them by sub. So I think that's a popular pick.
Del Valle by finish if you don't want to pick submission or knockout, minus 165. But I also like another prop. Del Valle in under 1.5 rounds is plus 115. So okay. I'm not mad at that. And it's a little interesting because the regular over-under for the fight is 1.5 and the under is plus 115. So basically they're saying if it's going under 1.5 rounds that Del Valle is going to win pretty much to the T.
Yeah, so I don't disagree there. I think those are good plays as well. Maybe if you wanted to put Del Valle as a parlay piece to be safe, you could do that. I like the Del Valle by finish line. I think that'll be what happens eventually. Round props are a little bit riskier, but if you feel confident, I say go for it. Alrighty, next is John Paul Lebosnoyani versus Phil Rowe, and Rowe is stepping in short notice. I'm going Lebosnoyani. I definitely like Phil Rowe. Phil Rowe has come clutch for me in the past with my bets, but I'm not picking Phil Rowe here. He gets stuck on bottom way too much, and he's comfortable there. He'll hunt subs instead of forcing a stand-up, and he loses tons of minutes doing stuff like that. And especially when you factor in going against someone like Lebosnoyani, I don't see him landing a triangle or an arm bar, So, because Lebosnoyani he's shorter, and I think he's going to bully him. Close distance, clinch, pressure, takedown threat, get on top, control, ground and pound. And he's just going to win minutes, So even if it's striking, Rowe definitely has the reach advantage, but he doesn't use it well. Like, he's very tall, but he fights inside. And I think that plays into Lebosnoyani's hands. Because Phil Rowe will want to have to keep it as a distance game. So if we look at the odds, John Paul Lebosnoyani is minus 200. Phil Rowe is plus 165. Chris, I think that's fair.
Yeah, 100%. I think you put it perfectly. I'm going JPL. I'm going to go by decision. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get Phil Rowe out of there. Phil Rowe's pretty tough customer usually. But I like what you said about the striking game, how he always usually has a reach advantage, but he never uses it properly. He's also a little bit timid on the feet. For a guy who has good power, he can really put your lights out with one punch. And he's slick on the feet, but he kind of just stalls. He gets a little timid and doesn't really want to get in those exchanges, where he's going to take a shot to give a bigger shot. I think he's solid on the ground. And I like what you said about the hunting subs, because he does hunt subs, but yeah, there's no urgency when he gets on his back. And for a guy like JPL, and if people only watch the Contender Series and doesn't really know what he's about, yeah, he might have had that crazy head kick knockout, but this dude's a grappler by trade, and he's great. He comes from an insane family in the Brazilian jiu-jitsu art. I mean, his dad, I forgot his dad's name, but he's a renowned BJJ practitioner, and it rubbed off on his son. He's very, very good on the ground. I think that JPL is going to make it uncomfortable for Phil Rowe, and he's not going to give him anything easy. I think Phil Rowe, he's going to have to fight a calculated fight, but that also means taking chances. And JPL's style forces that to a point, but if you're getting taken down constantly and you're going to lay on your back against someone that's willing to work on top, that's not really a recipe for success. I think JPL wins his debut in a pretty big way. I'm going to be completely honest. I think he might just completely wash Phil Rowe out of the water.
Yeah, I'm leaning decision. I know Lebosnoyani is a finisher. Like we look at his last fights, beat Congdon by knockout, obviously, won an LFA by submission. There's a decision there, knockout win, knockout loss. But Rowe hasn't been submitted. And I think this turns into a type of fight where it's kind of like win minutes, win rounds. So yeah, I'll go John Paul Lebosnoyani by decision. I think Tapology will agree too. Yep, 83% going Lebosnoyani. All right, next up we have Ramiz Brahimaj versus Punahele Soriano. Chris, who are you going to go with?
This is an interesting fight. I really like this matchmaking, if I'm being completely honest. You have two guys who are, I would say, on linear paths in the UFC. Also, almost kind of in the same boat in terms of, if you want to say archetype, if we're referring to 2K. But Brahimaj, he's a dog, man. I mean, so is Puna, but Brahimaj, the heart is evident every time you watch him fight. He was getting dominated in the first round of his last fight against Austin Vanderford, came back in the second round and just put pedal to the metal and knocked him out. He's definitely better on the ground. I would say he's more of a grappler by trade, but he is solid in the stand-up. He has power. He's not afraid to let it fly, and he's not afraid to get punched. He has big overhands, not super technical, but he does a solid job of mixing in, the stand-up game with the grappling game. But for a guy that's a pretty good grappler, he does wind up on his back quite a decent amount, which I don't particularly like. And then you have a guy like Puna Soriano, who is also a dog. He's a D3 All-American in wrestling. You don't really get to see the wrestling that often because he has crazy power on the feet. He has one-punch knockout power. And he just likes to put pedal to the metal, kind of like what Brahimaj did in that second round against Vanderford. In his last fight against Nikolai Veretennikov, we saw Puna kind of go into some uncharted territory in a 3-round fight. He dominated the entire fight, but we really got to see that D3 wrestling, or that high level grappling that we always knew he had. I feel like for this fight, even though Brahimaj, he might have the heart and he does have the skills, I just feel like Puna, when he gets in there, it's kind of kill or be killed. And I feel like he's just going to pressure Brahimaj into making some mistakes, making some uncalculated errors when he's punching, in terms of, getting him into a slugfest. And even though Brahimaj could fare well in that, I think Puna, he's more calculated in a slugfest. Like, yeah, he throws big overhands and, he swings for the fences, but, he does it in a way where he knows what's going to happen next. If you kind of pick up what I'm putting down, it's calculated. He is calculated chaos. So I'm going to go with Puna, and the line is interesting to me because Brahimaj was an underdog when this line opened up, and now it is flipped to Brahimaj as a favorite, and I think the line is climbing towards him. I think people might be looking at his last fight and saying, all right, well, this guy, even if he's getting the break speed off him, he can come back and knock someone out. I feel like against Puna, if Puna gets ahead, it's going to be really hard to derail him. And I just like the trajectory he's on. I think that he's going to be able to mix it up well, throw those big overhands and shoot some takedowns. So I'm going to go with Puna. I'm going to say it's by finish. I'm going to say knockout. I think he's going to be able to knock Brahimaj out, because Brahimaj is also killer. He's a kill or be killed fighter. He has 13 wins, but they're all by finish. So if it's going to decision, I think that fares well for Puna. But I think this is going to be some fireworks in the octagon with these two.
I'm going Brahimaj, and
all right, parody.
Honestly, I feel really good about it.
Okay,
I think it's time we put respect on Brahimaj's name. He's definitely on a run right now. 3 straight wins, and pretty much I think all of them have been as the underdog. So
yep,
take that as you will. Now that he's the favorite, Puna is definitely dangerous with the power. I agree, but I think his fight IQ is really shaky, and lately he's leaned on wrestling at 170, and here's the thing. Puna is not out grappling Brahimaj. I think Brahimaj's submission game is super legit. His stand-up is better than people think. The jab, the straights, the overhand entries, really tight guard. I think he's much technically sharper than the old version. I can see Puna getting frustrated, shooting sloppy, panic wrestling, and then that's when the neck is just sitting there like a gift. Odds, they're basically even. It does not make sense to me. I think Brahimaj should be a clear favorite in this matchup, and I think the line will widen as we get closer to the day of the fight and closer to when it actually happens. I would get Brahimaj at -120. I just would. It's such a good price on him, in my opinion. But I will take Brahimaj to win by submission. And 73% of Tapology is going.
Interesting. So that number right there is actually pretty much the percentage of bets and handle on Brahimaj. So when I checked the line, I would say a day and a half, 2 days ago, Brahimaj was sitting at -130, and the line is getting closer, but majority of the money is on Brahimaj. So take that as you will, but I don't know. I honestly think it might be a little different than you think, Shrikar. I think this line could be dead even by the time they step in the octagon.
Nah, I think Brahimaj will only grow because now that he's secured favorite status, I don't see why anyone would be betting him down in this case, especially when majority of people seem to believe he's going to win, right? So
I don't know, but if the line keeps going down, but he has more of the money, that's never a good sign.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to stick with Brahimaj, though. I think he'll get it done by submission. Nora Cornolle versus Joselyn Edwards 2 is the next fight. They fought in France, which was Cornolle's debut.
Terrible decision.
And honestly, I also thought Edwards did enough to win. I thought she got robbed. But, Cornolle was in her home country, so I guess it is
hometown favorites. They always get the whistle.
But this time, Cornolle is not in her hometown. She's in Houston, Texas. And this time I'm taking Joselyn Edwards to get it done. Edwards has improved a lot over the last couple of years. She's on a win streak. Yes, against lower level competition, but she's still getting it done. Priscilla Cachoeira, she knocked her out, knocked out Chelsea Chandler, submitted to Miras Vidal. Like, not the greatest opponents, but she's finishing them. She looks better. Cornolle has had moments, but I think her ground game still feels shaky. I can see her kicks getting caught. I can see Edwards winning the positional battles. If we look at the odds, Edwards is -325. Cornolle is +260. I think that's pretty telling from the books. They're basically saying, yeah, the first fight was wrong and the rematch goes the other way. So I tend to agree. Give me Joselyn Edwards.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm actually trying to look for the fight odds from their last fight, which was in Paris, correct? Yeah, it was in Paris. Actually, that line was close to even. Joselyn Edwards was -125. Now she's -300. So I like my stats. I'm pretty sure the person who wins the first fight in a rematch, I think, wins over 74% of the time. But this isn't happening here. There's no way. I think Nora Cornolle she's tough, man. I mean, she throws bombs. She's looking to take your head off. She's good on the ground. But I think Joselyn Edwards, she's just super calculated on the feet. And the takedown defense, a little shaky. It's gotten a lot better, obviously. And her being, I believe she is siblings with the Edwards brothers. So
I don't think she is.
I'm pretty sure she is.
She is?
Joselyn Edwards, Leon Edwards. Pretty sure that's their sister or half sister.
Wait, I didn't know this. His brother Fabian is also a mixed martial artist. Yeah, I knew that. I'm not seeing anything about Joselyn Edwards.
Oh, where did I see it? I'm telling you, I saw it.
Because also Joselyn Edwards is from Panama. And Leon and Fabian are Jamaican. So I don't know where that would come from.
I swear I saw. All right, I'm gonna find this so I don't look like an idiot.
Chris, I don't know, man. It's looking rough.
It might be looking rough.
Joselyn Edwards is related to Leon. I'm
Dude,
trying to
I
look.
saw it somewhere. I know I'm not crazy. I probably have
Hey,
all right,
comment.
maybe I got misinformation.
Let us know comments. Is
Nah,
John?
don't let him know. Don't make me look like an idiot. I
It's
swear I
it's on
saw it.
camera. We're not editing this out, so I.
Oh no, I know, but like you guys don't have to make me look like an idiot. I know I'm an idiot. All right, I swear I saw that somewhere. I'm gonna do some deep diving because now I'm mad.
Are they
Now
part
I'm
of the
mad.
same gym, Kings MMA? I don't think so. No, they're not because it's California. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way.
Man, now I'm pissed. Whatever. I'm taking her to win. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm leaning decision here.
She could be their sister with the striking that she has, though. She is excellent on the feet, and her knockout over Priscilla Cachoeira in her last fight will show you that. She absolutely annihilated her. What happened?
Edwards by sub is plus 700. I think that's definitely worth a sprinkle. If she gets
I think Nora's a little too good on the ground to get subbed.
Is she though? I don't like her ground game that much. I think
I don't know. I would rather
positions.
I'd rather opt for knockout. What
knockout
is knockout?
600.
Bruh.
But I don't think she's. I think it would be sub if anything. But if you want to sprinkle a finish, go ahead. I think it's worthwhile. But
dude, yeah, I'm so mad now. Why did I think that?
I don't know. I didn't really. I didn't know where you were going with it. But
dude, I swear. Like, all right, I promise I saw that somewhere. I'm an idiot. Jimmy's an idiot.
If you say so, Chris.
Jimmy's an idiot. Chris is. If you know what reference I'm talking about, props to you. That's ball knowledge. He's an idiot. Chris is an idiot.
Next up, Alden Coria versus Luis Gurule. Chris, who are you going with?
I'm going with Alden Coria. I was super impressed with his win over Alessandro Costa at UFC Noche. That was impressive. And I'm pretty. Did we all take Costa? I think we did.
Yes, I definitely did.
Yeah, we all took Costa, and he just went in there and manhandled him for 3 rounds. Got the finish too. I think he's a great grappler, very aggressive. He's good at takedowns. He has a really good single leg takedown, I believe, and he just works. Once he gets a hold of you, it's hard to get out of his grasp, and he's comfortable on the feet, which I, excuse me, which I really like. I mean, I think he's a good prospect. He's 27, 11-3, and the Costa fight was his UFC debut. So if you're doing that in your UFC debut as almost a plus 300 underdog, you know, I think the future is bright for him. And he takes on Gurule, who is solid. He was also on that card, lost to Jesus Aguilar, who was also a solid grappler. He almost has the same style as Coria, you know, grappler by trade, but they'll unleash their hands on the feet. I think Coria's striking is much more calculated than Aguilar's, though. Aguilar is just looking for big overhands, you know, really just trying to knock your head off. But I like everything that Coria brings to the table. I really think that he's going to be able to use his striking to piece up Gurule, you know, bring him down to the mat and honestly just suffocate him. I think that Coria has the advantage in every single realm in this fight. So I'm going to go Coria. I'm going to go by finish too. I don't see Gurule lasting 3 rounds with Alden Coria.
I'm also going Alden Coria. Gurule came in with hype because he beat a big name wrestler on Contender Series. I'm forgetting his name. Let me see. Yeah, Nick Piccanini. It was a split decision. But once he hit the UFC, he got slept by Odie Osbourne and then got cracked again by Jesus Aguilar. I mean, he's got chin issues. He's not mobile. Coria is a slick fighter, man. Definitely a sharp boxer. He's got quick hands, good combos, good stance switches. He's definitely a fighter that's hard to read. Very calm and composed with his striking. I think Coria shows levels on the feet and eventually tunes him up into a finish. I will also say Alden Coria gets it done. I'll say by KO. If we look at the odds, Coria is minus 285. Gurule is plus 230. Yeah, I'm gonna go Coria by KO.
What is him by finish? Him by finish is plus 180. Ooh.
Yeah, I think it's worth a shot. That's lucky good. Could Luis go the 3 rounds? Sure, but I'm not betting that to happen. I think Alden Coria is just a different level.
Over 2.5 is -160, by the way. So if you take the under, it's pretty juicy prop.
All right, next up is Odi Osbourne and Alibi Idiris. I'm very torn on this fight. Like, I'm very stressed. Like, I'm kind of panicking about this fight. But give me Odi Osbourne. No. Here's why. I can't build a real evidence-based argument that Idiris wins. If I was to pick Alibi Idiris, it would purely be faith-based. I just don't see him getting takedowns. I don't see him holding Odi Osbourne down. I don't see him being strong enough. Idiris just got mauled by Joseph Morales. Odi is definitely a tricky guy. He's a southpaw. Even on short notice, up a weight class, he gave Steve Erceg some problems early in that fight, Idiris is not some physical monster. He's not a great wrestler. I think Odi has the power. I think he has the experience. So, yeah, I'll take the underdog here. I'll take Odi Osbourne at +115. Idiris is -135. I think Idiris is getting a little too much love. So I'll say Odi Osbourne gets it done by decision.
I was really hoping for a lone wolf on this, but you snatched it out from under me.
I'm having him, brother.
Yeah, I really like Odi Osbourne in this fight too. I think Alibi's a very good fighter. Don't get me wrong. I think he got a little too comfortable with Joseph Morales, and Joseph Morales being a UFC vet and just being around the block allowed him to find that submission and really just put Alibi in a pretty poor position. I think Alibi is a good grappler, though. I think he's a good wrestler. I don't know if you think that. We just never see him do it. He just doesn't have. I don't know if he doesn't have the confidence to execute his skill, or he just wants to make.
I don't think he's physical enough. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, I think he has good technique, though. That's kind of what I was going at. And Odi Osbourne on the counterpart, he's takedownable, if that's a word. I might have just created a word, takedownable. So now I just think that Odi, you see all the red in his last 5. Some bad losses, but he was beating the brakes off Steve Erceg in that last fight. And he lost. So it kind of feels crazy to take him here, because I feel like Odi always has a chance to win these fights, and he loses it himself. It's nothing the other guy does. It's kind of the mistakes that he makes. But on the feet, if Alibi doesn't want to wrestle, Odi Osbourne is a killer on the feet. I mean, this guy has crazy power for flyweight. Very technical, very sharp. He's good at keeping the distance and, keeping you on the end of the punches and not getting tagged himself. And if that's the game that Alibi's going to play, he's going to be in for a world of hurt, because Odi he's a good vet. He's a good vet. I think that might happen, because we really haven't seen Alibi take the grappling into his own hands and make it that type of fight. I don't know if it's that he actually can't, and maybe I'm just sitting up here lying to you guys saying that he's a good grappler, or he just doesn't have the confidence in his abilities to do it, or he wants to make it an ego fight. But I think if it becomes that ego fight and he doesn't want to use the grappling, then this is Odi's fight to lose. And he's done it before, so that's actually the perfect way to put it. This is his fight to lose. He knocked down Steve Erceg probably 4 times and lost. How is that even humanly possible? How is that possible? I don't know. Steve Erceg, obviously, people had their doubts about him. I never stopped believing in him. I thought that the Pantoja fight was, that's what we can see from Steve Erceg. But Alibi, he's still kind of raw. He hasn't been in there with some killers. I think Odi Osbourne has the ability to be a killer if he executes properly. I think he executes properly on Saturday night. Give me Odi by knockout.
Wow. Okay. I'll say it goes to 3 rounds. Majority is going Idiris. I think everyone's scared that Odi's only won. He's only won 1 fight again in the last 5, right? So
Yeah.
I guess that's what's scaring people. But yeah, give me Ode Osbourne.
If you want Ode by he could, I think knockout or decision at +110 is good value.
Could be. I think that's a good bet as well. This is the featured prelim of the night.
The roid monster.
The headliner of the prelims, Chidi Njokuani versus Carlos Leal. Chris, I think this is a tough one. This is a tough one for me, but who are you going with?
I feel like it's a tough one on paper, but I'm sticking with my gut. I'm going with Chidi, bang, bang, and Njokuani by knockout. You know, I like Carlos Leal. I think he's absolutely a mammoth of a man. I mean, look at that. I feel like he's on roids in that picture. He has to be, right? There's no way a real human looks like that. I don't know. Those traps are crazy. He's a good striker though. And I mean, he's shown his prowess. You see the 2 losses in his last 5. One of them was to Rinat Fakhretdinov, and Rinat got the hometown scorecard. Leal was winning that fight. Comes back, absolutely massacres Alex Morono, and then he gets knocked out by a 40-year-old Muslim Salikov. Salikov, good striker, and solid power as well. I think Chidi's better than Muslim Salikov, we're being completely honest. I think that he's longer. He's much more, I wouldn't say much more calculated than Salikov. I think they're both equally calculated, just very good strikers, but he's longer. He has crazy power. He's good at keeping the distance. He has great leg kicks. And for someone like Leal, who he tries to walk you down like the Terminator, but he's very heavy on his front leg. He has a pretty wide stance when you're watching him, so he can generate that crazy torque and power when he's throwing his hooks and his uppercuts. I think Chidi's just going to eat him up. I think he's going to eat up the leg. I think that Leal is going to have trouble walking after the first round, if it even makes it out of there. I think this is going to be fireworks for however long it lasts. And even on the ground, I don't see it going there, but I give the full advantage to Chidi. I think he has, the limbs to lock up crazy subs, but I'm just really in love with the reach advantage and just the size that he's going to have. And even though Leal might look stronger, like especially in that picture, I think that in Njokuani, he's just going to show that there's levels when it comes to technical striking, and he has the power to knock you out. I'm going Chidi and Njokuani by first round knockout.
I could see Carlos Leal just bombing him out cold in round 1.
I can too.
But also part of me feels that Leal is overrated, like pretty overrated at this point. There were not
just had a good run in the PFL.
I just feel like everyone puts too much stock into the Rinat fight by this point. It was the exception, not the rule. Like, he beat Alex Morono. Cool. Who doesn't beat Alex Morono? You know what I'm saying? And then he got flatlined by Muslim Salikov. I will also pick Chidi by decision. I think this is going to be a 29-28. I think it'll be a lot of clinching. Honestly, I'll say Chidi
knocked out.
No, I'll say Chidi gets rocked or like dropped in round 1. But my thing is also Carlos just thinks he's Alex Pereira. Like, he just walks at you hands down. Not super accurate. He doesn't jab. He doesn't mix in the body work well. He just kind of headhunts. But if Chidi survives what happens in the early going of the fight, he is going to start taking over, He's bigger. He's a former middleweight. He is a big frame, the reach advantage. He'll jab him up, front kick the body. He'll clinch. Chidi has a really good clinch game. The knees, I think we could see a lot of elbows over the top because Carlos, again, leaves his chin in the air and his hands are down. So, yeah, I'll say Chidi gets rocked early. He loses the first round, and then he wins rounds 2 and 3 by coming back. Definitely expect a lot of clinch stuff. It's a close fight, but Chidi will get it done. I'm leaning toward
fight to not go the distance is -900.
Wow. Okay. I'll take it to go the distance then.
That's pretty good value.
Yeah. I mean, Leal has gone to decision before, and I know Chidi's I could see this being a fight of the night type of thing.
I think it could be. If it goes longer than 1, I think.
Especially if my script is right and Chidi actually gets rocked in the first round and just comes back.
If that happens, that's getting clipped and posted immediately.
That would be crazy. We'll move up to the main card opener. Again, guys, if you're still here, make sure you like up the video, subscribe, turn on those post notifications, share the video, do all that good stuff for us. Socials down below. Main card opener, Zach Reese versus Michel Pereira. I'm going Zach Reese. And I know this is one of those picks where, I don't know, some people may feel very strongly about Michel Pereira. Because, yeah, I'll give it to you. Pereira could absolutely clobber Reese early in this fight. But after the last few fights, I just don't trust where Pereira is at mentally or cardio-wise. If he doesn't get you out of there fast, I think things definitely start to fall apart quickly for him. Reese is definitely big, all right? He's 6'4", 77-inch reach. I mean, absolutely nuts physically. He has decent boxing. He's got a submission threat. I think if he survives that round one, I can see Pereira slowing, Reese, turning it up. I think this could turn into a grind. And in those type of cases, I think I'm always going to favor the guy with the better cardio, and I think that's Zach Reese. Right now, Reese is the underdog, so this is an underdog play. 3 straight underdogs that I've picked back to back with Odie Osbourne, Chidi Njokuani, and now Zach Reese. If you told me this fight is guaranteed to hit round 3, I'd basically automatically just say Reese wins. But yeah, give me Zach Reese either by a stoppage, or if this goes to decision, it'll be a very kind of grindy fight. So yeah, give me the underdog here.
Call me crazy. I'm taking Michel Pereira. It feels so stupid. I can't sit here and say it doesn't feel like it's stupid. I mean, the dude's on a 3-fight losing streak, and they were all bad. They were bad. I feel like this is the perfect buy low stock. If we were comparing it to I don't know, the stock market, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this is a perfect point to buy low in Michel Pereira. I mean, obviously you have Zach Reese, who, like you said, solid boxer. He can hang on the feet. Good. He's a good grappler. We've seen it before. Once he gets you down there, he kind of just swarms. He has a submission game. And for someone like Pereira, who has been taken down many times in his past couple fights and just completely dominated, feels like a very reasonable path to success. I just have a feeling that Pereira is going to bounce back. I feel like we just haven't been seeing the actual Michel Pereira. He has been going through personal stuff too.
I'd argue we have seen the actual Michel Pereira.
No, but he's been going through personal stuff too. In those 3 losses, like his mind wasn't right. He was thinking about other things in the octagon.
I mean, his last fight was 5 months ago. It hasn't really been that long.
Yeah, the Dawkins loss was terrible. Terrible. I mean, I didn't sit here and say it was great to see Kyle Dawkins go to another promotion and come back as a completely different fighter. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I just don't think that Michel Pereira, like that's the fighter he is. Also, how old is he? He's not that old. I don't think.
He's 32.
32. First of all, that's crazy that he's 32 and he's 31-14. Where are all these fights coming from? I don't know.
I think he just fights at such a high clip.
Like he does. Well, yeah, because he was just absolutely murdering everyone in the first round. I don't know. I just feel like this is a perfect get right spot for Pereira. And I do, obviously, Zach Reese 100% has probably the best path to victory in this fight by taking it to the ground and subbing him. But this is just an instinctive gut feeling. I think that Pereira, he's a lot better on the feet. We've seen it many times before. I just think he comes out and starches him, if I'm being completely honest. I also don't think that Zach Reese has really fought anyone good. That one L right there is to Azamat. Now, I'm not comparing Michel Pereira to Azamat, but I think this is a perfect get right spot. It's a perfect get right spot. What? Like, you gonna tell me I'm wrong? The guy's on a 3-fight losing streak. We've seen what he's capable of. He's capable of crazy things. He might even hit a backflip on Zach Reese. If I see that again, I'm going to lose it. If I see a capoeira dance / backflip into a Superman wall running punch in this fight, I'm going to lose it. I will record my reaction and post it everywhere so everyone can see it and make fun of me. But hey, you know what they say about stocks? You always want to buy low, so it skyrockets. Perfect buying price. He's minus 130. What more can you ask for? We've seen it. We've seen him accomplish crazy things. Just don't look at his last 3 fights, and then you're good. It'll make you feel better about when you're placing your bet.
Guys, my Wi-Fi cut out.
Oh, I'm not gonna. I thought you spotlighted me so I could just go on that rant.
Oh wait, you went on a rant? Wait, what did he? Yo, Thomas, let me know what he said. Wait, what did he say? My Wi-Fi just cut out.
Oh my god, no!
I got scared. I was about to come in here like, wait, did we lose the recording? And then I just see you talking, so I was like,
oh my god, I actually thought you spotlighted me so I could say
you did a whole soap opera without me. I just got you. I gave you the spotlight, and you just went on a rant about what?
About Michel Pereira, how it's the perfect buy low price for him. And I said, if you want to feel better, just don't look at his last 3 fights when you're placing his bet, and you'll feel a lot better.
Yeah, it's over, guys.
I also said that if he does a capoeira dance into a backflip into a wall running Superman punch, I'm gonna lose it and post my reaction for the entire world to see.
Wow. So a lot of things went down while I was gone for that short.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. Me and the war room were having a great time.
All righty. Next up, sorry about that, y'all. Next up is Jacobe Smith versus Josiah Harrell. I really like Josiah Harrell, actually. This is one of my favorite prospects, I would say. So Harrell was supposed to fight JDM, interestingly enough. He had that brain thing, kind of retired for a bit, comes back, looks great over in LFA, where he got a win. And now, I mean, he's going up against Jacobe Smith. Harrell has great grappling, solid striking, definitely kind of blitzes forward, good straights. But I think Jacobe Smith capitalizes on Josiah Harrell being a slow starter in his fights. I would love the story and the narrative if Harrell won. Obviously, coming in short notice. This is almost like when Ethan Ewing came in against Malcolm Wellmaker.
I was just going to say that.
Like Ethan Ewing just comes in and shocks the world. Could Josiah Harrell do that against another top prospect in this time in welterweight? I just think Jacobe is different. He's a very good grappler. Has nasty grounded pound, super explosive in that first round. Definitely has the one-shot KO power in that first round too. And when he gets on top of you, it's not just like a lay and pray situation. It is accurate, damaging grounded pound. Also has really, really good mat returns. People have compared Jacobe Smith to like a welterweight DC. I kind of see it. I see some of that stuff in him. And I think coming in short notice against a guy like that is just a bad recipe. So I'm going to say Jacobe Smith gets it done by TKO. I think he'll get it done by ground and pound, either round 1 or early round 2.
Yeah, I agree. I really want to take Josiah Harrell. I don't know.
I know.
Pure instinct, gut feeling, and tremendous value. Great value. There's actually a lot of, Josiah Harrell right now, we're going on the DraftKings splits. Josiah Harrell, he's plus 235, 73% of the handle and only 16% of the bets. That's a lot. That's a lot. There's a lot of people taking a chance on him. But that number's been like that since this fight got announced, and I think Jacobe Smith has slowly climbed higher. I believe he was around minus 260. I could be wrong, and now he's around minus 290. I don't think the line was that wide in when this fight was announced, but yeah, it would be a great narrative. You know, I'm going to pick Jacobe Smith, and I do think he finishes this, but I'll tell you right now, I'm rooting for Josiah Harrell. I'm 100% rooting for him. Great to see him bounce back, and now he's getting a pretty big opportunity on a solid card for UFC Houston, and they're both 11-0, so someone's O has got to go. But I think this will be a good clash of styles. I do think Josiah Harrell is a little bit of a slow starter, like you mentioned, and Jacobe Smith, he does like to put pedal to the metal. And I know some people, myself, were mad that he didn't finish Nico Price faster than he did, especially after what we've seen recently from Nico Price. I think he was just kind of putting his feelers out and not rushing into anything drastic against a veteran like Nico Price. Nico Price isn't amazing, but he's still been in the octagon with some pretty good guys for a long time in the UFC. But I do like the blend of striking and aggressive grappling that we've seen from Jacobe Smith. Hopefully it'll be a good fight. I think it will. I think we'll see a good clash of styles just between the two of them. But yeah, I'm pulling for Josiah Harrell, but I don't feel comfortable making a pick. Hey, I might throw some money on him just cause, so I could have a little more rooting interest. But if I'm telling you my thoughts, I think that Jacobe Smith should and will win this fight, and it could be 3 rounds. It could be. I'm gonna go Jacobe Smith by decision. How about that?
Okay. Interestingly enough, so the original matchup was Jacobe Smith versus Suk Young Ko. Yeah. I was actually going to take Suk Young Ko in that fight.
Interesting.
I don't know about you, but I think Jacobe Smith would have had to. The margin for error definitely would have been less with Suk Young Ko, and that's my one thing.
I mean, Suk Young Ko is a demon, bro. He can do it everywhere.
Yeah, he's super legit. So I don't know. I think this is definitely a more favorable matchup for him, but yeah, Jacobe Smith will be the pick going up against Josiah Harrell. Next up, Sergey Spivak versus Ante Delija. Chris, I'll let you go first on this one, actually. Who you got?
Yeah, I think this is a solid fight in a heavyweight division that is, I would say, drowning underwater, if we're being completely honest. Both guys are actually coming off losses to Waldo Cortez Acosta. Now, Sergey Spivak's loss was a little bit more straight up, a bit more straight up. Ante Delija, his fight ended, I would say, in the center of controversy. He eye poked Waldo. Ref didn't stop it. Waldo fell against the cage and he landed some good shots. Ref steps in, calls it a no, or says that Waldo got eye poked, but he didn't signify what the call was. So Delija, thinking that he won, everyone celebrating, has a crazy adrenaline dump, and that just kills everything in MMA. Waldo comes out, knocks him out. Waldo's a dangerous guy. I think that fight shouldn't really be held against Delija because it's not his fault. I don't think the fight even should have continued. It probably should have just been a no contest. Call it a TKO right there. Go watch it back on the monitor, and then go from there. I still think Delija, even though he's 35, obviously gets hyped up as Tom Aspinall's training partner, but he's good. He throws haymakers. He's solid in the grappling, very dangerous on the feet. He has one punch knockout power. And then you have Spivak, who is a grappler by trade, really not a striker. And for heavyweight, saying that someone doesn't have that much power, it feels kind of sinful to say, but Spivak doesn't really have power. It almost feels like he has pillow hands. He's good at taking you down, not good at holding you there, though. I think for Delija, I don't even see Delija really getting taken down. I think he comes down and just sparks Spivak in the first round, if I'm being completely honest. So that's my pick, Ante Delija by first round knockout. And I think it's going to be pretty vicious.
Yeah, I'm also going Ante Delija. Delija is the more explosive athlete, is way more dangerous on the feet. Spivak is more of a smother grappler, clinch, top control, pressure. But as you mentioned, Chris, he's not a big power puncher. And if he's forced to strike, he's definitely hittable. I think Delija is defensively sound enough in grappling that I don't see Spivak just drowning him. And when it becomes striking heavy, I like Delija to land first and land hard. So the odds right now, Delija is minus 140. Spivak is plus 120. And if we see the totals, under 1.5 is minus 140. I think that's interesting because Delija is a fast starter. Spivak hates getting hit clean. I think this could be a round one finish for Ante Delija. So yeah, I'll say Ante Delija wins this one by knockout, potentially in the first round. Again, I would definitely look at that minus 140.
What are the odds for him to win in the first round? Let's see.
Yeah, we can check that out.
Round props? Yes, round props. Ante Delija in round one. Oh no, that's a winning round. Ante Delija in round one plus 225. I like that.
That's not bad. That's not bad. First minute finish is plus 800.
You know I'm gonna get sucked.
I
into that
won't
too.
stray that far with y'all.
You know I'm gonna get sucked into that bet. I love my under half a round.
I won't get sucked into that. No, I'm good. But all right, here we go. Featured bout: Dan Ige versus Melquizael Costa. I'm going Melquizael Costa, and I feel pretty good about it. Costa is on fire right now. The confidence is high. I just think he has more tools to win this fight. Dan Ige is definitely tough as hell. He is the definition of grit in the UFC. But I think he's more of a guy that's, in the pocket, a guy that's a boxing specialist. I think Costa's game where he's a southpaw, he's more of a range guy, definitely has some nasty clinch work of his own, with the body knees, the elbows. He's good teeps. He has good head kicks. I think the big difference to me is the submission threat. Costa can just beat you in more ways, and I think that's what makes the scales tip in his favor. And if we look at the odds, Melquizael Costa is minus 205. Ige is plus 170. If we look at the totals, over 2.5 is minus 300. So that's screaming that this fight is going to go to decision. And I also lean the over here, over 2.5. Ige is a tough guy to finish. And if a finish were to come, I think it would be in that third round. So my pick is going to be Costa by decision. I think this will go the distance. And I like that over 2.5 as a parlay piece if you want to include it.
Did you know that Dan Ige changed his nickname?
Yeah, because now it's 100K.
Yeah, he went from 50K Ige to 100K Ige. That's awesome.
I figured that was coming.
Yeah, I was just looking up his stat page, so I wasn't spewing BS stats out to you guys.
Tapology still has him as 50K.
Come on, Tapology. You guys are amazing. That's a great.
You guys gotta get with the times.
Yeah, they got. Come on, update this happened today. You got to fix it. Yeah, no, I love Dan Ige. Dude is a gamer. He is game for anyone, anytime, anywhere. I do just think Melky Costa, he's on an absolute tear. And I really like what you said about the submission threat. Sometimes when you're picking fights or looking into comparisons between two guys, you want to see, or you at least want to pick the guy who has more ways to win, more paths to victory. I think that's Costa in this fight. Ige on the feet, he's tough, man. He'll stand and bang with the best of them, and he's done it. He has fought the best of the best in featherweight for as long as I've been watching UFC. You've been watching UFC. This guy's always in pretty high-profile fights. I think that this is Melky's time. I mean, he's been on a tear. That knockout over Morgan Charrier was crazy, and Charrier's not an easy guy to do that to, and he made it look effortless. I feel like Ige, like you said, he likes to fight in the pocket. He's a great boxer, but he's not a kickboxer. And that's the difference between him and Melky. Melky's a good kickboxer. He utilizes all his tools, and he's able to flow through them seamlessly. Great kicks, very solid puncher. He doesn't really put himself in danger. And while Dan Ige doesn't do that either, I think we really could see Melky shooting some takedowns in this fight. I think we could see some clinch work from him. And even though Dan Ige, he doesn't get phased by that, and he actually has a solid takedown percentage. So what I was looking up is his takedown percentage, because he's fought some pretty good grapplers. It's sitting around 56% takedown defense. And for the people he's fought, you look at his resume, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. Melky obviously isn't the guy to just, start shooting takedowns, but in the grappling department, I think that Melky has the complete edge. In the striking department, I don't see him putting himself in danger. But if it gets in tight and it starts becoming a fight in a phone booth, that's really going to favor Dan Ige. That is his fight. But I feel like it's hard to fade the hot hand. And the fact that they're making him, a pretty sizable favorite over a guy like Dan Ige, I think that's telling enough. I'm going to go Melky Costa. It's going to go 3 rounds. I'm taking him by decision. I don't see Dan Ige getting finished. This guy is tough as nails. And I think it'll be a good fight. This one could honestly be fight of the night. I honestly would not be surprised. Or we could see a performance bonus in here. Maybe Dan Ige gets 100K. Maybe Melky Costa gets 100K. But if you want to tune into a clinical striking fight, I would tune into this. I think that's what it's going to be.
Majority going Costa. All good there. Co-main, Jeff Neal versus Uros Medic. Okay. I think Jeff Neal knocks him out.
Yep. Medic, steel, baby.
Medic is definitely talented. He's a dangerous kickboxer. He's a southpaw, really good kicks to the body, good straight shots. He's definitely fast. But the chin has been a problem, and Neal hits like a truck. Neal has fought the best of the best. He has a win over RDA, the Vicente Luque fight. He has been competitive with elite guys. He's got serious power. He's got clean boxing. If we look at the odds, Neal is minus 218. Medic is plus 180. We'll look at the totals. Under 1.5 is minus 200. I get why. I might lean under 2.5 more than under 1.5, just because both guys can be tactical in round one before they really settle in. But Neal landing clean is going to be the story of this fight. So give me Jeff Neal by knockout.
I 100% agree. I think this fight's going to be demolition. This is going to be fireworks. I know in the, excuse me. I know in the open, I kind of said that I wish there was a little bit better of a co-main, but that doesn't mean I don't like the fight. I think this is a great fight. I think this is going to be super exciting to watch. These are two guys willing to stand there and try and play rock'em sock'em in real life and knock each other's heads off. I do think the chin is a problem for Uros Medic. I'm taking Jeff Neal by knockout. It feels like Medic just consistently gets dropped, even in, or at least rocked. Even in the fights he wins, he somehow rocked. It just doesn't make sense. And one of the fights is the second win right there from left to right on Tapology against Gilbert Urbina. I mean, he's not a very good fighter. He hits like a truck though if he lands, but Medic got dropped bad, comes back and knocks out Urbina. Got to give him credit there. But it just feels like for a guy who has talent, if he had a chin, I think we'd be thinking about Uros Medic a little bit differently because he has crazy power, good striker. You know, he can mix it up. But Jeff Neal, his name is Hands of Steel for a reason. This dude hits hard and it will hurt. And I know a lot of people who, maybe casuals or people who are starting to tune into UFC because it's on Paramount now, they might go back and look at the Carlos Prates fight. Carlos Prates is Carlos Prates. You want to see what that guy's about? You go look up his highlights and you go look what he does. He's a killer. But that doesn't mean that Jeff Neal's not. Jeff Neal, like you said, been in there with the best of them. You want to watch a good fight too? If you don't really know what Jeff Neal's about, go watch that Vicente Luque fight. Luque, until that fight, supposedly had an unbreakable chin. He insane durability. That was one of his best characteristics. He hit hard and was crazy durable. Jeff Neal went in there and, to say the least, broke his face. He hit him with 10 straight uppercuts and folded him. That is what Jeff Neal's about. Relentless. He's also pretty durable. I know we just mentioned the Prates fight, but even the most durable can't take a spinning back elbow to the temple. That's pretty hard to take and keep going. I think that Jeff Neal comes in here. He makes a big bounce back statement and absolutely flatlines Uros Medic. I'm saying in the first round, Uros Medic, you want to look at his stats in his past couple fights against Muslim Salikov in his last fight. He won 8 strikes to 2. Urbina, 5 strikes to 5. Punahele Soriano, 13-2. Medic versus Mean, 7-7. Against Muktabek Oralbai, 14-8. There are not many strikes in his fights. They end quick. If he comes in there and thinks that he's going to go in there and take Jeff Neal's head off, I think he's going to have another thing coming for him. Jeff Neal by first round knockout. It's going to be violent.
Both of us in agreement on the co-main event. And now let's go to the main event of the evening. Sean Strickland versus Anthony Hernandez.
His nickname is Tarzan? Since when?
Yeah. It's always been Tarzan.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, that might. I was gonna say that might be worse than me thinking Joselyn Edwards is Leon and Fabian's sister.
No, I don't think it's worse than that.
That was pretty bad. That might have to get clipped and put on social media.
But the main event, give me Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. I look, here's the thing. You never know with Strickland. You just don't. If you really want to bet him at plus 230, go ahead. I'm not going to be here saying don't do that, but I don't think he's going to be able to jab and teep the whole time. I really don't. That's what this pick boils down to for me. Fluffy is going to force contact, whether it's in the clinch, just on the cage. He is going to be on Strickland. Even in open space, I would say Fluffy is a guy that's always going to move forward. And I think those type of fighters give Sean Strickland trouble. We've seen DDP do it in the past. I think Fluffy can do the same thing, if not better. And once that happens where he does kind of force contact situations, Sean Strickland is very fundamentally sound, but I definitely think his grappling defense is not there. It just has not been tested in the slightest. I think Fluffy will actually test it. Strickland has gone up against, DDP, against Izzy, against Paulo Costa, who was going to stand and strike with him the whole time. Abus Magomedov gassed out and, after a round. Like, I just don't think that Sean has been tested like that before, and Fluffy will actually bring it to him in that regard. And I think the grappling defense will just be exposed in this fight, plain and simple. I've kind of had the feeling throughout the week that Fluffy was going to win this fight. I've kind of thought about going Strickland because of how unpredictable his fights can be, but I think I gotta go with what I see in theory, and it's that Fluffy is going to win this fight, and I think it could look a lot like Fluffy versus Roman if it plays out exactly to Fluffy's strengths and what I think it could be for his potential in this fight. Yeah, Fluffy could definitely submit Sean Strickland in the championship rounds. I think it's definitely possible. So give me Fluffy by decision or late sub. I think that's going to be the play here. I guess I can check on some other bets for you guys, but if you want to do the over 4.5, I think that makes sense too. But I'd honestly love the Hernandez sub line. I'm going to check on what that is. I think that's definitely worth a sprinkle. So Fluffy by sub is plus 275. I think that's worth a shot at nearly plus 300. And the over 4.5 is minus 175. It's pretty good too. So yeah, that's who I got in the main event.
Yeah, I think that you said it perfectly. I'm also going to go with Fluffy Hernandez to win by, I guess, late finish. Probably a decision. Strickland, you know him. You either love him or you hate him. There's really no in between. He's known for the Philly shell and his teep kicks. That's pretty much it. And running his mouth. And he talks a lot. Whether you think he's funny or you hate him, he sells fights. You got to give him that. Fluffy Hernandez, on the other hand, dude is on a tear. We've seen crazy things from Fluffy as of late. And he just suffocates people. He brings them into deep waters and just completely drowns them. Strickland is fairly good at not allowing himself to get drowned. But with Fluffy, like you said, Trikar, he's just going to find a way to create contact. It's like a really good power running back that he might have an open field, but as long as someone's coming in at an angle, he's going to divert his attention to that guy and find a way to truck him. Because that's just what Fluffy does. He wants to get hands on you at all times in the fight. Now, obviously, there's always rumblings that Strickland is this very solid grappler. And people have said he's trained with Hamzat before. I guess they were former teammates for a little bit. And I mean, Strickland said that Hamzat ragdolled him, but who doesn't Hamzat ragdoll? I think that Strickland is a solid grappler, but there's really no legitimate basis to make that statement. I mean, we haven't seen it at the UFC level because he's so good at keeping distance and, picking his punches and kicks that there's really no need for it. He doesn't get taken down often. And when he does, when he has, he's worked to get back up. But like you said, Trikar, I'm just going to quote you. He's not going to punch and teep his way through Fluffy Hernandez. That's just not what Fluffy does. He goes in there, he gets hands on you, and he makes it his fight. Whether that's beating you to a pulp or taking you down and just making you work. I mean, the guy is a great submission specialist. He is a great grappler. We've seen it time and time again. And he's not a slouch on the feet. Like he can stand and throw crazy punches and really do damage. Taking Strickland, I wouldn't say it's a bad bet. I mean, the value's definitely there because, again, like Shrikar said, you don't really know what you're going to get with Strickland. He's a wild card, and that's kind of how he's always been. But with Fluffy, he's not a wild card. You know what you're going to get from him. And I hate to use betting lines to kind of make my point, but one thing I said to Shrikar earlier today was, this is the biggest flight of Fluff. Did I say flight?
I don't know how long the flight was, but
I don't know. Yo, shout out Flight Reacts. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. Flight Team stand up. Fluffy Hernandez, this is the biggest fight of his career. And the fact that he's near minus 300 against a guy of Strickland's stature, that's pretty impressive and pretty telling, if I'm being completely honest. And yeah, I mean, 66, 34%, that's not bad. I mean, people are going to pick Strickland and there's value in it. I mean, he's pulled things out of the fire before. Even in his DDP fights, the first DDP fight, that was super, super close. The second one was a dud. We're not going to mention that. But Strickland has the ability to make this his fight. But it's just a matter of Fluffy imposing his will on him. And I feel like in a 5-round fight where Fluffy's so high motor and his cardio tank is honestly somewhat comparable to Merab's, like this guy just doesn't stop working. He's going to drown you eventually. And I just feel like that's what Fluffy's going to do. So I'll take him. I'll probably wind up taking him by decision. I think it's at minus 110 right now. If you think a late finish is coming, I think Fluffy and over 3.5 rounds is at around minus 150 right now, which isn't terrible. Strickland, I don't think is going to get finished early, if at all. But this is going to be an interesting clash of styles. I'm excited to see this fight. It could be boring or it could be exciting. I'm not going to sit here and say this is going to be some great fight because Strickland, he's kind of a point fighter unless he's fighting Dricus du Plessis and he actually just wants to kill him. But, this whole fight is a wild card. But I think Fluffy's going to win and he's going to cement himself in line for a title shot at Khamzat Chimaev. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Oh no, did Shrikar's Wi-Fi go out again? No. He's gone. Ladies and gentlemen, he's gone. Well, until he comes back, I guess I'll hit my little outro. But yeah, I mean, this card it's pretty solid. It's nothing crazy, but it's a good little interlude into the fights that we have coming up. We have Mexico City next Saturday, and then UFC 326, Holloway versus Oliveira for the BMF belt. That is going to be an absolute banger. That main card's good. Shrikar's back.
I am.
I think so. I hear you. You're lagging. All right, bet. I was hitting the outro by myself. Join in. I was just saying this is going to be a solid card. I think it's a good prelude into the very stacked future that the UFC has in the upcoming weeks and months. Like I was just mentioning, Mexico City card. You got UFC 326, Vegas 114 right after that. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good card to get our palates wet and get back in the swing of things for UFC in the Paramount era.
Guys, my Wi-Fi keeps cutting out, and I don't want to cut out. I don't want it to go out again before I do this outro, so I'm ending the video here. Real quick, smash the like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Drop a W in the comments if you made it this far. I want your picks, especially the main event, Strickland or Hernandez. Do you think Jeff Neal sparks Medic like we do? Are there any underdogs you're riding with? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for stopping in the War Room. He's Chris Schroyer. I'm Shrikar Gendron. We will see you guys in the next one. Peace.